This is me with the top off of my Singer 237, roughly from 1968 to 72, 71. And the other day I was using this for something, and the bobbin winder was a little funny again. But I figured out I was using new bobbins, and not vintage Singer bobbins. And the newer bobbins just don't sit down correctly. And I may have mentioned that before in a video. They tend to pop up. And once they pop up, they don't spin right. They have to fit onto that little tiny pin right down there in order to turn right. But the other thing is, you can always, to replace the bobbin winder tire, you take this off of there and you stick a new one on and then put it back. It's very simple. But I was thinking, right now I have a hand crank on this. These used to be made by Bishop Sewing Systems. They're now made by Alpha Sew. And they've gone up about $10. They're $49 plus shipping. But it takes your old electric machine, several models, and makes them a hand crank. The drawback to that is that it's one stitch per turn. But listen to how quiet that machine is. So right now I have the hand crank on it, and as I'm going through my machines and organizing things, I had taken the motor off of my 1934-99 because, frankly, the motor is now 90 years old. It was the original motor. My grandmother had had it serviced all along, and it runs, but it's 90 years old. I don't know quite yet what I'm going to do about the 1591, which has a 72-year-old motor on it. Again, it runs fine. I don't have a problem with it, but it's 72 years old. Now this one is 50-something years old, and I already took the original motor off and put a hand crank on, and I'm kind of thinking, well, I could just put a new, they come out of China or Taiwan, a new sewing machine motor on this if I want to motorize it. And it all depends on whether this gets too tiring, hand cranking all the time when it's just one stitch per turn. But while I'm thinking about that, as I was just sitting here oiling the machine, this is basically the only play you get in the bobbin winder being off or being on. And I think when I put the lid back on here, and I haven't screwed it down obviously, so this doesn't go all the way to the left, but all I really have to do is hold it like that while I wind the bobbin, and probably make sure I'm using a vintage bobbin that sits down there correctly. But these machines, I mean, they just don't break. So I now have a choice of a hand crank, a new motor. I still have the original motor. The machine itself is metal except for the lid. I mean, the older machines are worth the money. You can pick one of these up for roughly $100. And half of that now is shipping sometimes, because the shipping prices have gone up. If you can find one locally, I would grab one, because 1, 2, 3, 4 zigzag sizes, multiple stitch counts, stitch lengths, fine area to do embroidery and monogramming, and 3 needle positions. I think this is the machine that has the best zigzag stitch on it out of the Singer machines, better even than the 500A in some cases. the Singer Model 237.